Hello, everyone. This is Mike from Dimensional Walking. And today I want to talk about prophecies and predictions. Over the years on our website, Truth Seeker Forum, I would do at the beginning of the year, typically a little earlier than when you're going to see this one, but a little behind in it. And anyways, so I would do a prediction for the upcoming year, of course, and then at the end of the year, I would do a review and grade myself on my predictions that I did. Typically, I did about 10 predictions. And, I would base my predictions on a couple of things. Would be my gut on a topic. I used to always try to give a variety of different things. Some of it may be a little political. Some of them may be about climate or something, what's going on, even a couple sports ones, etc. And so these are my impressions. I've had some pretty amazing prophecies that have come to me through visions, day visions, dreams, strange people coming to me and tell me these. In all cases, there's about 5 of them. Today, I'm going to talk about 3 of them. Okay, this is part 1. So I'm going to kind of tell you give you a little background. And then what I'm going to do in next video, which will be next Tuesday, you're going to see this one on a Friday. And next Tuesday, I will give you my last year's predictions that I did, and we'll grade those, or I'll grade them. And then I'll give you my 2022 predictions and prophecies, okay? Which prediction prophecy are sort of the same. But anyway, so today I want to go over 3 of them that had happened in the past. Some of these are quite a few years ago, but I think they're really fascinating because in all cases, I told a person, and this person, whoever it is, they're actually 3 different people that had this dream or had this prophecy, or somebody told me something, and I want you to write this down. I want you to keep track of it, whatever. And for the most part, they did. And, they were very surprised, just like I was, that they came true. Now, I've also made some other ones. I will be honest with you. I made other prophecies or made other predictions that I thought were pretty firm predictions, but they didn't come true. Okay. So I'm really not perfect, but some of these absolutely amaze me and amaze people around me. I'm a big believer that everybody, if they pay attention to their surroundings, you are constantly bombarded with these type of portal, dimensional, futuristic events. And if you just would pay attention to it, and you would, when you get that little feeling, that kind of a deja vu feeling, you kind of pay attention, write it down. And I always tell people, give it to somebody else and let them hold on to it. Make sure you get a date, a time, all the detail you possibly can. That way you can actually tell if you're really, really on track and you actually had a prediction that is accurate. But I really believe everybody has that opportunity where nobody is special. Nostradamus isn't special. Now his was very complicated. He did them in a quatrain and all this stuff. And of course, one of the things with him is it was kind of vague. I always thought his predictions were very vague. In many ways, you could interpret them. Some of them are pretty dang interesting, I'll be honest with you. But the ones that I have done and the ones I'm going to tell you about were fairly specific. Basically, there was a date and sometimes there was a time, and they were quite accurate. So there wasn't kind of, I'm kind of giving a vague deal. Now, some of the ones I'm going to tell you about are, like I said, are going to be quite accurate with dates. Some of the ones of my predictions going into next year are a little more in a general tone. And that's just the way I typically will do them. And I'll grade it as such. So it's got to be fairly close to what the prediction was. So anyways, let's get started. So the first one I'm going to tell you about is in, let's see, it would have been probably August of 1980. Okay. I was working this would have been in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was working there, and I had a really, I guess it was a bad feeling. And then I also got kind of a vision. So anyways, this vision was a dark vision because it was about, at the time, the president, and he was get shot. Okay. And I could see this kind of playing out. I saw it, and I guess I kind of, first impression was it was happening somewhere out east. I'm not sure why I thought that, but I believe that it actually did happen out east. And I actually ended up with a date in my mind, you know. But anyways, let me tell you what happened was, so I'm at work and I had a secretary at the time, and she was interested in kind of the paranormal. I've been, of course, into paranormal and predictions and prophecies and UFOs and everything for all my life, basically. So here I'm a man, probably in my 30s, early 30s. And so anyways, this came to me, and typically I kind of knew that whenever this kind of feeling happens, there's a good chance it's going to happen. So anyways, I told her, and actually I give her a date, an actual date. And anyway, so I give her a date, and I'm not going to tell you the date right now. I'll reveal that in a minute. And I actually gave her a time too. And so I said, listen, this is going to be in the future. This is going to be probably 6 months in the future. So anyways, she had one of those flip calendars. I'm sure you're familiar with them, where I don't think, I haven't seen many of them lately, but there's kind of a flip calendar, fairly big size flip calendar. And you would flip it every day. You have to flip it, and there'll be a new date in there. So anyways, so this was at the end of 1980. And so we usually got our flip calendars in quite early. I think we always had a bunch of them around for the employees, probably several months in advance, right? So anyways, I went to the storage room, the office where they kept all the stuff. And I said, here, listen, take this. I'm going to give you this date. And I want you to write down on your flip, open it up, write it on the flip calendar, just put it away, because you don't need it now. You still got a couple months on the 1980, because the date was actually 1981. So anyway, so she did that, and we never talked about it again for a couple months or so. Well, come to find out, I ended up leaving the company. Okay. And so I left, went to another company. And so one day in the future, I got a call, and it was on March 30th, 1981, several months later than I told this woman about this. And this woman, who was my old secretary, she is like beside herself. She is just, I couldn't even understand what she was saying. She kind of implied or said something about the president, and then she's kind of, how did you know? Did you do something? Blah, blah. I mean, she was really beside herself. I mean, she knew me quite well. I had worked with her for years. And I think in the back of her mind, hopefully she thought that I wasn't capable of doing something like that. And I think I just basically heard that a guy named John Hinckley had shot President Reagan, right? And I completely forgot about my prediction. Absolutely forgot about it. So she said, I flipped that calendar over, and then I shortly heard, breaking news over the loudspeaker that the president was shot, blah, blah, blah. And she, again, she looked at the thing, and I believe, and this stretched my memory a little bit. We're going back quite a few years, but she did say that it seemed like the time was within 30 minutes of actually happening. And I guess you got to remember, we were it happened on the East Coast, so it was probably an hour difference. So maybe there was a little bit of thing, but it was like definitely today, and within, say, an hour, maybe 30 minutes or so, whatever. But it was pretty incredible. And anyway, so that was probably the most profound one I've ever had. I've had some other ones that were pretty amazing too, but that was pretty much the most profound one. And I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it was so accurate. I've never heard anybody being that accurate on a prediction or a prophecy within the 6 months in advance. I just never heard of it. So anyways, so I said, wow, I had other little small, previous when I was younger, I would kind of see something, hear something, maybe tell my mother, my dad, and sometimes, I kind of forget about it, or it may kind of come true, maybe it was just, a small thing, but it would come true. So anyways, that was that. I squared her away, calmed her down, and everything was fine. I think she'll never forget me ever in her life because of that event. It took her a while to calm down, I understand. So the next thing was, I was at a new employer, and I was working, I had another feeling. It was, again, I don't know. I don't know how I can tell you what the feeling is. That I kind of know that I have to extra pay attention to this because this could be something. I don't know if I get a slight headache. Something happens in my mind, basically, and it may have been kind of like a headache. And I think it probably was. It isn't a strong headache. It's kind of a mild headache. And so anyways, this was another one I had. So there was a peer I was working with. I said, listen, I just want to tell you, write this down, that in a couple weeks, and a lot of times these are always like the first one I told you was like 6 months, but some of the other ones were like a couple weeks. I don't know what the magic was about the couple weeks, but it was a couple weeks. So this particular one was an explosion at an airport. And I could remember seeing planes. I could remember seeing people, a lot of people. I remember seeing baggage. I remember seeing a row of lockers that I remember. And then suddenly I see a big explosion and I see people injured. I don't believe in this particular case there was anybody dead. Anyway, so I had this vision. I told somebody, I said, I think it's going to happen in the short future. And I think I actually short future, I said I thought in a couple of weeks. And sure enough, it happened. It happened in a couple of weeks. I think I had told her, that person, it was a female again. I told that person in March, the end of March, and it happened the beginning of April, 1984. It was kind of like I say, it was kind of a vision. It was a feeling, and I believe I was accurate from the standpoint that it was in an area, there were lockers, although there's quite a few lockers. I mean, in the old days, there's a lot of lockers in airports. People put things in, I don't know what happened to them now, but, I haven't seen many lockers anywheres. But it was in a baggage area. So there was a lot of baggage around. I remember baggage and clothing and stuff was flying all over the place. So I guess that was fairly accurate. And the other thing was interesting. I didn't know when I first came to my mind what Heathrow was. I think I at the time I had heard of it. I guess I thought it was an airport maybe in Europe. I didn't know it was in England. It was in London, or somewhere around London. It may not be actually in the city of London. It's maybe outside of London. And I actually had to look it up after I had the kind of the day vision, I call it. And I actually had to look it up to see where it really was. So that, and Heathrow is kind of an odd name. It's just, I just wouldn't have pulled that out of my butt, I guess. But anyways, the point is it happened. It happened 2 weeks after I told this person, and this person wrote it down, and like I told her to. So anyways, that was that one. And then I'm going to tell you this last one. I call it my Lady in Black incident. This was a fascinating one. I thought this was. So I was in the logistics business for all my life, basically. So anyways, one of the things you do, I was a manager, ran warehouses, et cetera, and transportation. So occasionally I would have trucking companies come in, and I didn't really like to, if they didn't have an appointment, I would always reject them and just say, hey, you got to get an appointment, talk to my secretary. And at that time, back in the 80s, just so everybody understands, they called, assistants were secretaries. So that changed, of course. But anyways, my secretary at the time, and she would kind of be the gatekeeper. So a lot of them never got past her. But anyways, this one day, my secretary, she came in and she said, I know this woman, she's with such and such trucking company. I don't remember the name. I think you should talk to her. I said, well, what do you mean? We always have an agreement. I don't talk to anybody unless they have an appointment. She says, I think you should talk to her. Now, my secretary was very much into paranormal. She was a very empathic person. So if she said something like that, and I was in, of course, the paranormal, and I'm kind of empathic, etc. So I pay attention if somebody tells me that, especially a person like that. So she said, just talk to her. There's something about her or whatever. And I could kind of see her out my door, and she was wearing all black. She was a very attractive woman. She had very, I guess we'll say, kind of pasty white skin. It was kind of odd, very dark hair, big eyes. But I mean, she didn't look like she was an alien or anything, but she looked, strikingly somewhat different than normally I would get in my office area. So anyways, okay, fine. Let her in. And of course, she sat down and she started talking. She gave me her business card and she started talking trucking type related things about, truck routes and what they could do for us and blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly she stops and she says, I got to tell you something. I came here to tell you something. Like almost her voice changed, which I thought was like, holy shocking. It was really crazy. So she says, listen, I have to tell you, my brother was in Tennessee and he was in a hotel room. He was sitting on his bed and suddenly two aliens came through the wall. And I'm saying, what? What do you mean came through the wall? They came through the wall. They sat down, or I think she said one sat down on the bed with him and the other one stood up and projected a message to him. And they told him that within, I think at that time it was like 3 weeks, there was going to be a huge earthquake in Japan, in Kobe, Japan. And this was, I was talking to this woman. It was right after the beginning of the year, January, right around the 4th, 3rd or 4th, something like that, 1995. Okay. So she was sitting there telling me all this. And she said that there would be over 5,000 people that would die. And wow, that's pretty amazing in 1995 that many people would die. I mean, way back when thousands of people would die from earthquakes, but it was quite unusual. And she said it would be a 7+ earthquake. They told her brother this, the 7 something. So, okay. And she promptly got up and left. That was it. That was the conversation. So I'm saying, wow, I think I need to pay attention to this. This feels like there's something right about this. Now, this is pretty specific stuff, right? So anyways, I brought in my secretary. I said, listen, I think you were right about it. She was pretty strange. And my secretary says, yeah, there was something I felt about her. And when she talked to me, she was almost mesmerizing. I knew there was something coming. I said, okay, well, she did. And I told my secretary this. I said, please write this down somewhere. So she said it was going to happen in a couple of weeks, etc. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to see what happens. So guess what? On the 17th of January, 1995, a very, very strong earthquake hit Kobe, Japan. And it was over 6,000, I think it was well over 6,000 people died. Thousands were injured. They didn't mention the injuries. She didn't mention injuries, but there was obviously thousands injured. And it was a 7.2 earthquake. And I mean, I was just completely blown away. So I'm saying, okay, I gotta get back with this woman, and I need to talk to her, right? So I had the business card. Remember, I had that business. She did give me the business card. So I called the company. It was a small trucking company, and I got a woman on the phone, and I said, I need to talk to so-and-so. And she said, I don't know so-and-so. There's no so-and-so that works here as a salesperson. There's like 3 or 4 of us that do sales. And I don't know who this person is. I said, oh, okay, that sounds weird. So I said, can I speak to the owner? Because I think well, no, I didn't know the owner. But anyways, can I speak to the owner? I said, or the general manager. I can't remember which one I said. But anyway, so she gave me, I had to wait a few minutes, and I ended up talking to the general manager, and he said, I don't know who you're talking about. We don't have anybody like that here. Anybody by that name. And I don't know the name. I've been here for forever, right? I said, well, listen, I got a business card here. It's got the name of your company on it. It's got a, kind of a logo thing. And I kind of described it. And he said, well, that sounds like some old card, but I've been here 20 some years. I would know everybody that's been here. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to come over next week or two, and I'm going to show you this card because I think it's really important. He said, oh yeah. I didn't tell him the story at all. I just said, I just needed to talk to you about this, and I want to find this person. So anyways, I went over there at lunchtime one day, a week or later, and he was gone. And I don't know if he was on vacation or what he was, but I never made it back. I never did. I kind of just left it go. And I actually, it's been, what has it been? Shoot, it's been like 40 years ago. And I even occasionally look around to old business cards and see if I could find her card, but I've never been able to find it. Anyways, it was a pretty incredible story. I mean, she was pretty weird and incredible in her own way. And the story she told was, and for it to actually happen, was mind-boggling. So that's my Lady in Black story, which I love to tell that story because it's one of my very favorite stories. Anyway, so that's it. I just want to give you a little background on things that have happened to me and some of my prophecies. I have a couple more. I'll save those. Maybe we'll do this again next year at this time. So, but anyways, next Tuesday, I will tell you what my predictions were for 2021, and I'll grade myself on them, and then I'll give you my predictions for 2022. So that'll be on Tuesday. Anyways, until we meet again. And if you have any questions, or you want to tell us what you'd like to see, since we've been doing this so long, every video that we have done, which we have well over 60, probably 65, it's all from our own experiences or experiences of people that we know that were very well vetted. So we don't post anything, but if it doesn't involve us, I just want to let you know that. So if you want to get a hold of us via our email, it's dimensionalwalking@gmail.com. Our website is Truth Seeker Forum. So anyways, keep watching, and I'll catch you up on part 2 of prophecy next Tuesday. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you. Bye-bye.